Today we are joined by a really good friend of mine. She's been on this podcast before. She was the first guest, actually. Catherine is here. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
The reason why Catherine is here again today is because she has been with me for this last year, has seen me go through stuff, and yeah, it's been a while since I posted, and so this episode will be kind of explaining a little bit about that. And also just explaining a very, I guess, important relationship I had in my life that that made a huge impact on me. And the person, out of respect for them, has asked to kind of be out of this, and no names will be dropped or anything. So I want to respect this person's wishes. However, I would say this person made a huge impact. And so I do want to talk about it because I think it's important to talk about these situations and friendships. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's been almost a year since you released the first episode, right?
Yes.
Almost.
Literally September 1st, which is this Friday, was when I released the trailer, and then I yeeted myself out of Victoria.
He posted and yeeted.
And I left. And it's crazy to think that it's already been a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the feeling of like this. I was scared. I remember at first when I posted it and then left, and then just kind of hearing the positive responses was pretty cool.
Because you just like went off the grid kind of when you posted it too. You just weren't on your phone. You weren't on any social media. You just disappeared.
I just disappeared. Went on a 5-hour hike that we didn't expect to be 5 hours, with half our water bottles left. But we made it, and honestly, I think I really needed that. I think it was like it was definitely like I got my mind off of things. It was basically survival mode.
Oh my god!
For like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like very much. I already knew that like me posting it would be really hard for me. So I remember just being like, okay, you know what? I need to take time off social media, which I have done in the past, and it has been really helpful. And I do recommend it if you ever like just get off social media for a bit, because it does drain you a lot. But yeah, it's been a year since I posted the trailer. And I know that it's touched some people's lives, which is really cool. Yeah.
I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who don't, reach out and say anything. But I know, like, even just like throughout the year, just randomly, people are running into people from my past, and them going, "Hey, we really enjoyed your trailer or your episodes." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't know you listened to it." Right.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, what's cool is like the various ages, like not just our age, our friends, like my friends' parents and their friends, or like my friends' students apparently like found them on it. So it's been really cool to at least have it out and have people have a positive impression and opinion about it. And yeah, so it's pretty cool that it's been a year. Yeah, but there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I bet. You said that it was something that was really out of your comfort zone when you posted it. Do you feel like ever since that you've been striving to do more things outside of your comfort zone in this past year? Yeah,
I actually, Kath and I have really long conversations about life and stuff in general when we hang out. And one of the biggest things I kind of recognized was like this being in the closet wasn't just like my sexuality. It was very much like my curiosity of my confidence, my fear of trying new things, like because of this like idea that I need to be perfect and I didn't want anyone to know about things. It very much affected like my choices of fashion, my choices of speech, like how I presented myself, how I talked, how I like a lot of stuff. And so I think it really lifted this like veil or this wall of like, oh wow, this is like in a way like it was a self-discovery year, because I didn't really realize how much of a toll it had on me. I didn't realize how much it really censored and filtered a lot of things that like, oh, I'm actually really interested in like volleyball, for example, which I started last year before I came out. But like, or oh wow, I didn't realize how much it played into my travel and like how much anxiety I had of how I presented myself to people and family members outside of here, and how I talked, how I presented myself. Like it was very much like kind of really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And which is something that I think I never really I've always kind of been like ambitious and like to try new things and learn new things, but there are things that I was scared to try because of the label being too gay.
Oh, it's so ridiculous, that label. It's such a constricting label.
Yeah.
When you think about it and when you talk about it, like your closet has like sub closets.
Yeah.
There were so many little doors in Josh's
it's like,
closet.
They had little drawers everywhere, you know, like little compartments.
You had to like unlock
Yeah.
and open. And do you feel like your closet is like empty now?
You know, it's interesting. I just
Are
have
the
this
doors
weird
open?
metaphor pop up in my head, but like I can't see it because I don't see it through my mind's eye. But like I think about like I was stuck in this closet and I can imagine myself in this dark space and not seeing anything. So when I stepped out, it was the first time I looked in the closet.
Oh, you're standing outside of the closet looking into it.
Yeah, and now it's kind of like now I see, because in the closet you can still peek out, right, and see things outside.
That's true.
And so I guess it's kind of the way of seeing the world, but looking back and being like, wow, like this is the Josh that has like compartmentalized. Thank you. Into like certain sections of this closet and this like opening drawers and shelves and like, oh, the stack of clothes that I used to wear in high school, which is very bright neon stuff, to me in university wearing all black, to, you know, it's kind of like the closet of the logo, right? That's kind of how I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But just this idea of like, wow, I didn't open this drawer.
This drawer has been closed for a really long time. It's really dusty.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, I opened this drawer, but not fully.
You open it and you close it back.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
I go wait. But or maybe there's like a shirt that's just tucked into the very back, right? And I think that has been the last year, and that's why it's been like in a way very beautiful and like really like for me like this joy of like discovering these new things, but also old things that I didn't take out yet. I wasn't ready to take those clothes
You're
out.
airing out the cobwebs.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like there are any drawers that are still shut that you want to open?
I think there are, and I think there are drawers I don't know exist.
That's totally true too.
And that's like where therapy comes in.
Whoa,
right?
hidden drawers.
Right, the hidden drawers. And I don't really think, like, even when I think about it and I really try to think hard on like this year, what were some drawers that I opened that were new to me? I don't think it was very much anything new. It was very much like, oh, I'm back in Victoria. Let me look at this Victoria shelf and let me sort it out now. Because before I just kind of, you know, when you just like shelf things in a drawer.
Was it your junk drawer?
Oh my gosh.
Was Victoria your junk drawer?
I think it was just a mixture of stuff. Maybe not necessarily a junk drawer. Maybe just to be sorted later drawer.
Okay, yeah.
But I think very much like I, like, just you know when you're like really lazy, you shove all your clothes in a drawer with those. Yeah, that's I think what I did.
Yeah.
And it's very full.
It was your clothes chair.
Yes. It's my clothes chair.
It was your clothes chair in the closet.
And like I think that like it was full to the brim and it was like, exploding from the inside.
That chair was full.
It was full.
Could not handle any more clothes.
And I think when I came back, I also, because I moved back basically right before I posted everything, I came back trying to shove more things in it. Right? And so like, because no matter what, I think I will always carry trauma from Victoria and Vancouver. And when I came back from Vancouver, I brought another new set of clothes that I never had before. And so like trying to fit it in with the Victoria was sometimes impossible.
So you've donated some clothes and brought some in from Vancouver and integrated them into your old wardrobe.
Yeah. But it's like now it like kind of had a fight, you know?
Like, the outfits clashed?
Yeah, the outfits clashed. And like I think there's parts of Josh that were like conflicting with each other. Like who was like the 2019 Josh was very different than right now.
Yes.
And I look back on like I have upstairs on my fridge I have these like school teacher photos, like just like my hair change, like even just that alone, and my face change, like just like my jawline, and stuff like that. Like I it's like a weird thing because I remember moving there a very different person than I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, like, this closet is very much open, just like the podcast name is very much like open. I'm not afraid to look in it. But just because you're not afraid to look in it doesn't mean you know what's inside.
Yes.
And I think that's in my next step is like, what am I going to do now? And knowing that I still have things that are not sorted, but I'm ready to clean it out, you know? And I have the energy and like the support to, like, I have my friends who will help me go through these clothes and do a Marie Kondo style. You know, do you remember that video that we never posted? When I moved out the first time, and I like,
we never posted
that's
that.
in the archives.
We should bring that back.
Oh god, we were probably so like young, even though that was only like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of a reason why I haven't posted in a while. Like the last time I posted was 2022, like before I went to Taiwan in January.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, like, I think when I was in Taiwan I had a lot of reflection, and I had realized a couple of things, like there's some family things happening, health issues and stuff like that, which I think take total priority. But also I was very angry. I think I had a lot of anger, and I hope that like people who are listening, like any kind of like thing I say about hatred or like my haters, it's not, I'm like in a way joking. Like I think for those who know me, like I don't wish any hate on anybody, and I know that has frustrated my friends because they're angry at people that I'm not angry at.
Josh would never actually wish any ill will on people.
No,
he just needs to voice out the anger.
Yeah. And I think that like when I think back on the previous episodes and like listening to it, I can tell I was really like processing it. And like I said, a lot has happened since I came out, and me doing this podcast has been in a way therapeutic and a way to process my thoughts and emotions. But it you know, there's a healthy way to do that, and I kind of had to recognize, and while I was in Taiwan, like I was like, okay, there's a little bit of anger that I don't want to keep expressing, and I want to be able to talk about certain things in a more healthy way. And so I took a break, and I also took a contract, teaching contract, which I told myself I would, you know, take a break from teaching, but you know, situations happen. I was doing a favor for a good friend of mine, and I ended up teaching for a couple months. So I already, Catherine and I are part of another podcast that we have not been able to host that much just because of how crazy busy it is. So I just took a little bit of a break, and I'm kind of in a better headspace of moving forward and dealing with the clothes that are in my drawer. Yeah.
Do you think so? Are you gonna post more on this podcast now, do you think?
There are a lot of people in Vancouver that I want to talk to.
Yes.
And because they also saw a different kind of Josh too, right? Like for example, I know Catherine has been my friend since high school, and she's seen me through those kind of eras of my life, versus there are people in Vancouver that saw me go through the moving out and like finally kind of discovering myself and things like that. So I'm pretty excited for that. And you know, I hope that, like, you know, talking to maybe some of my colleagues and some of my church friends and stuff, because I think it's important to see so many different sides of someone's story. And my journey is just beginning. It feels like in some ways like this self-discovery year has been very eye-opening of a lot of things that I didn't know about myself, and I'm still kind of trying to sort that out. So yeah,
it's gonna be great. There's gonna be so many things to discover, just like you said, there's so many hidden drawers. I'm
like very like excited but also equally terrified.
That's valid,
right? Because I think when you like think you're somebody and then suddenly like you're not, like you've told yourself this narrative for so long, it's really
you almost have like an identity crisis.
Yeah, honestly, that's how I felt for some parts of this year, because I didn't know. For example, I'll be honest, like I had a lot of anger this year, and the amount of anger I had towards, you know, people, or like me talking back to my parents, or like there's a lot of bitterness, and that's somebody I never thought I would become. And I think back on like 2019 Josh, like I was never like that. And actually it's been really cool to have had, you know, conversations with my parents about it, and for them to kind of also recognize that, yeah, like you've been a little, you know, more shorter temper than you used to be, and that's a sign that something's off, right? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be angry and have frustrations. It's very human, but to have it like outlash at people, I think that's a dangerous zone. And for it to be so consistent when it used to be not like that, it's just definitely something I want to look into, and definitely want to find the proper help to figure out where this is stemming from. Because it's like not, you know, sometimes like life sucks and like shit happens, but like it's not other people's fault, right? Like sometimes you can't put it like out on them, you know. And unfortunately my parents have been around for the majority of what's been happening this last year, and so unfortunately they've been having to deal with that, and I don't think that's fair. And there's a part of me that's a little bit like, you know, shameful for that, because like they really just let me come back home and take my time, and to not been pushy about work, not been pushy about anything, and letting me kind of just figure things out. And so I think I owe it to them that I find a therapist and start unboxing things that I never really touched, I think. Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah,
it is okay to be angry. It's part of the healing process. Just kind of like grieving. Anger is definitely a stage when you're healing that you have to go through. And you're like, you'll go away from it and you'll get angry again, and it's just like, yeah.
And it's interesting because I think like maybe there's a part of me that's like,
maybe you are angry.
Maybe I am angry. And I gotta change something on here because I can't see what's going on my computer. But I think I don't realize that like I didn't feel much anger as a child, and maybe that wasn't normal.
I think so.
You know, and there's a part of me that victimized myself for everything. Like even the bullies, the people that like caused me harm, I told myself that I was the problem, and I was weak, and I wasn't like, you know, good enough or not a good enough friend. And so like this anger that I should have felt for what was happening to me, I just put it out on myself and just kind of internalized it, and now it was like a ticking bomb and it blew up. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's why I have all this anger that I never like I think that's the point where I don't even know how to control it because I'm not used to it. And like even I remember when I first moved back, I yelled at my parents a lot, and that's not something that's normal for me. My brothers picked it up. They're like, what's going on? Like for me it's like maybe just because I never
you were never angry.
Yeah. And so maybe now it's like learning how to control it, learning to understand where it's coming from, and how to approach it in a more healthy way is kind of what my goal is. And like I, you know, being back home has its, you know, positives, which is like being able to rest and relax at home, but like at the same time it brings up a lot of other things in my childhood, a lot of trauma I went through. And unfortunately, like, you know, my parents saw me go through like full on panic attacks, like, and they've never seen me that emotional. And I think because I usually would just hide in my room and just cry by myself, or not tell anybody and not show anybody. And Catherine knows I'm not the best sometimes with telling her that I'm not doing well. Right. And so I think for my parents to see that, and for me to see their change of heart, and to see that they understand that I'm not doing well, was a huge shift, and such a blessing that I get to experience and see them understand that mental health is an actual thing. And for them to, you know, my mom to say sorry to me, to heal that kind of part of my childhood that I didn't think I would get, to my dad just kind of being there for me during a lot of the stuff that's happened. You know?
And your dad, even like from what you tell me, him becoming more aware of all this stuff like mental health and things, and him becoming more open to it as well. Even your mom is really cool to hear about as well, because you're not only helping yourself but you're helping them. Yeah.
And like I think back on the stories they told me in their life, and they didn't even get time to do this kind of stuff.
Asian
like,
parents didn't have the time or the resources.
They moved here, they worked,
they had kids,
took care of 4 children,
raised the kids.
Right? Like for me, it's like such a blessing to be, for them to work so hard for us, and to their, in a way, sacrificing their health and opportunities. And for me, it's like and there's a part of me that feels guilty that I can't be as ambitious as them or be as hardworking as them. But I know I'm a hardworking person, but like, anyways. But like, I think there's a part of me that's guilty, but also I think it also would be putting their worth to waste that I'm not taking care of myself. Because if I didn't, the next generation will suffer.
Yeah. And we're trying to stop this generational
curse, trauma. Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
It stops with us.
Stop the cycle.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would say no matter how hard we try, it will never fully stop.
No.
However, awareness is the first step. And I think that if we are aware of it, we at least can help the future generation navigate through, if they are going through the same thing. Because what I'm going through is the product of my parents. It's like the product of the things that they didn't have a chance to deal with, and now we had to deal with it. And if I don't deal with it, that's not helpful. That's not gonna like benefit anybody, and also just gonna hurt me more and hurt the people around me more, right? And so in a way, I'm like taking this as a gift that I get this time off or whatever to just let it be.
Yeah.
And my parents, I think, maybe will not fully understand, but they are supportive as much as they can be. And that's all that I kind of asked, right?
Yeah.
This last year has been tough in a lot of different aspects, like just backlash from church, relationship changes, kind of, in a way I was thinking a lot about it, like it's hard to not get support of a group or foundation that saw you grow up. It, like for me, I didn't really recognize it, but I had a lot of struggle with my faith, I'll be honest. I had a lot of struggle because I grew up in my home church. They raised me, and they're not supportive.
Yeah.
And so this like foundational support like started to break, and it really, really hurt me, and it really broke me because I really knew people would think otherwise or differently, but I didn't want to face that reality that, oh wow, maybe people don't actually agree with me or are not actually that supportive. But that doesn't change the fact that like they raised me. And so for me, it's like, where's that ounce of human? Where's that ounce of empathy for a child that you saw grow up who served, who did so much, but he shares his suffering, he shares his story, and you shut him out.
Yeah.
Like it really broke my heart, and I kind of shoved it in, like internalized it, because I didn't want to hurt people, which is another thing. It's like I really just take things on myself, but the truth will come out, and I like I said, I don't wish any harm, anything poorly on these people. I know there is so much trauma, church trauma, culture trauma that blinds everybody, and the things that they say or do, they might not fully understand, and the things that I say or do, maybe I won't fully understand, but I just hope that one day we can just understand and connect, and let's just be like, let's just love each other, and just like, let's just care for the well-being of somebody else.
Yeah.
Because like I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not the only one, and there must be people hiding and suffering, and I'm like, it breaks my heart to think that they can't get out of that, and they have to live the rest of their life just hurting, and not being able to be true to themselves. And it's it's been a lot. So
I know. I wonder if these people watch this. Hopefully, if they do, they can get some sort of inspiration from you and try and find something that works for them, or like the courage to kind of break free from that. And yeah, because it is really sad being trapped in a place where you think it's your family and like your home, but really it's just so like hostile. And
right. And like for me, it's like when you see somebody who's like genuinely happy, joyful, it's a beautiful thing. Like I can only relate it now to my nephew. Like his genuine joy for the littlest things, like it brings me so much happiness. Like when I see somebody overcome something difficult or have found a group of people that they fit in or they feel like they belong in, it brings joy to everybody. And for me, it's like if you can't see that, you know, me coming out has helped me find this inner joy that I never had, that's something that's off, you know. That's like there's something wrong, because this is God's story, right? This is like my life has been, I found God through my struggle with my sexuality, right? And so I know that God has made me in his image, has loved me ever since the beginning, and he also loves them, right? And that's the hard thing. It's like, how do you love somebody that's so hard, like so mean to you?
That's what I'm wondering right now.
Right? And so like I think like I just, with all the strength I have in my being, I really hope that I do continue to be, you know, this person to spread love and just show them like this is what I can do as a Christian who is gay, and how I can continue to, you know, further God's kingdom and to be a good person on this earth to everybody, not even just Christians, right? And it just, for me, it's like I just pray that like God just will show them like just that I can be myself and be happy and be all these things, and this idea they have of a Christian maybe is not the right thing. And you know what, I would say maybe I don't have everything going. I don't know, I might have something wrong as well, but I don't think that's the point, right? And I think the point is that being open and aware and being willing to think and to change and to have conversations. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm not trying to force you to think a certain way. I'm just trying to get people to show some kind of understanding and love and empathy towards people that they might not normally hang out with or get along with, right? That's literally my main goal, right? And so if it doesn't come out that way, I can't really do much about that.
Exactly. You can only do what you can do, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Just send out the love, and then whoever reciprocates will reciprocate.
And I think sometimes it's just tough, because especially when it's people close to you, that's the hardest thing. And it's not like I know some people I'm not that close to, but we grew up together, or you know, they saw me grow up, I hung out with their children, you know, like that's the hard thing. It's like I am still maybe friends with your kids or so close to your kids, like isn't there like some kind of ounce of like, oh, maybe he's a good kid? Actually there's a part of me that when I shared my testimony and shared my trailer, I had these expectations that I already knew like certain people wouldn't be happy, but you know what, there are people that actually reached out to me that I didn't expect.
Good.
I've heard from friends where their parents, you know, it challenged their faith. It challenged their faith because somebody that they cared for, you know, is struggling, and has found God through my journey, right? Like it challenged their faith, and I'm like, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because we can't just sit here and keep thinking we're doing something right when it's hateful or hurtful.
Like I feel like there's a point where you get too comfortable in it, and then you just get stubborn and refuse to see anything else for what it is. So you need to get uncomfortable.
agree that we need to find the human side of things. And the more we are willing to do that, I think the more we will just let go of the things that actually don't matter. And yeah, like it sucks for me to think that for the rest of my life I'm gonna have to keep defending myself. And it's gonna be a long battle for for maybe forever, but for me it's like, I know God I would hate to not use God's story to help somebody else who's struggling right now. And there are probably kids, people our age, people who are older, who are struggling, and like I'm here, like I'm representing the people that are struggling in this community, right? And so like the last year has been a lot for me, and I'm actually moving to Vancouver to, I don't know, I just feel like I'm kind of stuck here now. I think I've kind of outgrown Victoria. I'm ready to kind of move on and to just push myself to know people more in the community, to grow more in personal ways, and to just, I don't know, find where God is leading me to in other parts of Vancouver and other opportunities, I think. Yeah.
That's good. Very good.
Hey everybody, it's been a while, and I thank you for your support and all your patience. I needed to take some time to take a step back and process a lot of things that have been happening in my life, and I hope that you've been enjoying my sharing of my reflection of the past year. I pray that my thoughts, my opinions, my experience helps you or somebody that you love, and I hope that you continue to listen as I go into talking about a very important relationship I've had in the past that has shaped me a lot as a person, and the difficulties with that.
So, going back from new opportunities.
Yeah.
Josh is dreading this a bit, but yeah, going back to this past relationship that's affected you quite a bit over the past year.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the backstory?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah,
okay. I am really dreading this, but I think I have to talk about
Gotta
it.
be uncomfortable to grow.
Uncomfortable. So there's somebody that I was a close friend to, and I had a crush on for 3 years. But what's special about this friendship was this person actually met me when I came out, shared my testimony the first time. And so this person kind of knew me just as Josh, Christian, gay.
Yep.
Like, compared to, like, say, like you and other people who kind of met me while I was very closeted and hid everything and everything. Like, this person just knew me as this, in a way, blank canvas of like, let's start here. While for Catherine's canvas, it was, there's parts that were drawn and painted already, and then I added a splot of white paint. So, just kidding.
It's very abstract, my
Yes.
canvas for Josh.
And so, like, there was a really cool, like, oh wow, a friendship. And now, I've always had a struggle with making male friends, just throughout my life, just because, of crushes and expectations and fears and, all that fun stuff. But this person and I really just clicked really easily. And I remember, like, I just felt like, oh wow, I can make male friends. I remember that thought. I remember being like, oh, this actually can happen, right? And we connected really well. We, we're part of, church together and like other fellowships and things. And I think a couple months in, I remember just being like, oh no, what is this feeling? Because before I, had this crush on this person, the last person was like high school. I think, so that would have been like 3 years or something before this, meeting this person. And so I was kind of very, confused, but maybe I just like feel a bit close to him, and like, we were really good friends, whatever. But there was a point where I realized that, okay, I do like this person. And I remember sharing this with them, and then them saying, just, no, sorry, I don't feel the same way. But what was difficult was that I didn't want to repeat what I used to do, which is basically ignore the person and not talk to them forever. And because I know I hurt my friends that way. But this person also didn't want to hurt me, because he knew of all the pain I went through, which is, honestly, when I think back on it, it was a very, very kind thing to do. And so think of navigating this friendship of, I had these feelings for this person that didn't reciprocate it, but they didn't want to hurt me, so they didn't want to shun me or push me away or distance. So we really just only didn't talk for a week after I kind of confessed my feelings to this person.
Yeah.
And this is something that's Catherine might actually not know.
Yeah, I was like, wait, processing.
And so we didn't talk for a week, and then I just said, oh, I'm fine, don't worry about it. But it was not I needed that distance, and but it was really hard because we saw each other every week. We saw each other sometimes multiple times a week.
Was it not awkward?
Kind of not. It was not really awkward.
Because I guess you didn't really have a break either.
Exactly. There was no break.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's I was just my usual self around them. They were their usual self around me. And so that's why it was difficult, because, we had this, good friendship. We had this conversation, and it just continued on as it was. Right. And so now, now you can imagine the mixed signals, the mixed emotions. And I would say, just as, just generally throughout the years, the feelings just was still there, and they kept growing because I started to learn more about this person. I started to connect more to this person. This person was with me through when I went through therapy. This person was with me when I went through a lot of struggles in university and my mental health and my relationships with certain people, drama that happened. So this person was one of my, I would say, go-to people, people that someone I would call and they would pick up, and we would just chat for hours. We would pick each other up, we would drive each other places, we would hang out, we would have dinner, so many normal friendship things. But for me, I saw it as something different, right?
You had the underlayer of feelings.
Right. And for me, this is something that's never really happened to me. And so whether this is very normal for this person, it wasn't normal for me. And so it really threw me off. And it was really hard because I confessed my feelings, and then I kept sharing my feelings, and they kept being no. So for me, I already should have known it wouldn't have worked out. But by God just being a jokester, she's haha, let's just go put you through all this stuff together. From, I don't know, the hardest one was when our friend Susan died and passed away, right? She passed away from cancer, and he was there for me. And he was with me when she was diagnosed the second and third time, me kind of venting everything, me crying, me struggling with my sexual identity, me yelling how it wasn't fair that I was gay, and everyone else could live their normal life. He heard all my honest frustration about my faith, about my life, about people, about he was one of the first people I think I really just poured my heart to. And he was always there. And we got to a point where we could recognize when something was bothering the other person. I think I also had to deal with him liking other people and dealing with that kind of jealousy, and me always questioning
was he voicing that to you whenever he was crushing on other people, or could you just kind of tell?
I could just tell. Okay, you know me. I can tell. I'm really good at reading energies. But just having those conversations, right? And it was tough because there's a part of me that really wanted to be happy.
But you're why don't you like me instead?
Yeah, exactly. And there were moments in our friendship, when you just get the feels and you're just this could work, or just okay, yeah, we could totally date, or I could see a future with this person. There were just so many moments like throughout the 3 years that I can recall, that I was like, if
This
I
would
was
be
a
really
girl,
nice. Yeah.
you know,
Oh shit! If I
right?
was a
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. There it is, right? And like, for me, it's like, it was such a hard friendship to navigate, and I can't imagine how hard it was for my friends to see me complain about it for 3 years. But like,
It's fine.
right, and like, it was hard because like, I did the thing where I ignored him. I did the thing where I tried to not talk to him, right? But like, he was just so special to me, and he also would do things where he would try to call my name out, so like, put me into conversations. So I would say something like, he cared about my well-being enough, right? And that's a true friend. But the thing was, it was just not a good mix with my feelings that I had for this person. And like, we, ended up, I remember when I moved to Vancouver the first time for my practicum, like, that's when, some, health things were happening with family, and like, he was there for that. He like would call me and like stuff like that, right? Like, it was a friendship that I never really had, and I don't think I will ever have again with a guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was very special, and I saw a lot of change in his heart. I saw a lot of change in how he treated people, like, kindly, and he definitely was way more open and like understanding of people's emotions, and like, he could read me like so easily. And for me, like, I think about, for anybody, when someone changes like that for you, it's an amazing feeling to have that this person cares for you. But it wasn't what I needed at that time, right? And when I look back on it, yeah, I should have distanced myself.
Yeah.
We both should have distanced ourselves from each other. But it was like, I needed him.
But it's not like you regret that time. Like, you don't regret it at all,
I don't
do you?
regret it,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
But I think it would have been healthier, if there was some kind of separation. But like, literally, sometimes we would see each other 2 to 3 times
because
away.
considering the circumstances,
Yeah,
because I was
exactly.
around for this too, like, you saw each other a lot. There was no way that you wouldn't have seen each other. So it would have been harder to create that separation as it would have to just hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it would have been more awkward.
Yeah.
And people would definitely notice.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I think a lot of people didn't know, like, only like the people that I told, right? And so it was a very like, it kind of felt like secret in some way. So like, I don't think anything would have really helped. But what helped was just kind of the separation, right? Like, when I actually moved to Vancouver was kind of when I got over it. Because like, I don't know, I had to, right? And so it was just a really tough. I remember when I went to Hong Kong in 2018, so right when I graduated education, finished my last practicum, I was in a terrible headspace. I was very depressed because I think I had to recognize that I still had really big feelings for him, but I knew that he was with somebody else. And I remember just being like, I need to get out. I need to leave. And maybe that was God's way of getting me out of Victoria, was that job, right?
Yeah.
And like, ended up kind of like moving on. And then I got the invitation to their wedding, which is literally on that shelf right there. I forgot to throw it away.
Just throw it away.
And that
that really upset you, I remember.
The song, The Invitation, you not heard my single, The Invitation, that's what the song is about. Me receiving this invitation and just thinking about, this is it. That's it. We're done. But, I'm going to go to their wedding because, I'm going to be a good friend, and I'm going to dress up and see them be happy while I'm happy for them in a way, right? Yeah. It's like, and I remember, I think I called Sherry at that time. Yeah. And I was just crying, and she was like, what is happening? Right. And just for me, it's like, I had to let go. Yeah. And I wrote the song and all that stuff, which is fun. Woohoo. But that was kind of like the end of it. And I would say this person, like, I think was one of the only people so far that made me even think of a possibility, and just like, wow, this in another life, Katy Perry. I would be a girl. Like it, like literally, like has made me. It made me question a lot.
Yeah.
And, I know that he has voiced that it wouldn't have changed for him. Like that, there's something different, right?
Yeah.
And, I do still really care for this person, and because they really helped me during that time, because I was a very anxious person, very depressed, and just struggled with a lot of my faith, and they kind of helped me kind of guide through that faith journey, and like helped me kind of find God, and through the midst of the chaotic trauma and hurt I had throughout high school. I guess I would say this person helped me through my high school kind of unboxing, right? Because that was very much my university time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the huge backstory
Yeah.
of
The
our
drama.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. You said that it kind of like made you realize the potential,
Yeah.
but putting aside the if you were a girl part,
Yeah.
do you think it kind of helped you realize the potential that yes, there are men out there that you can see yourself dating? Like, were you thinking before that just wasn't a possibility? You actually dating another man?
So I think for the longest time, I kind of, even though I knew I was gay, like a huge process of my coming out the first time was processing just having feelings in general.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time, like, oh, I could trust somebody enough to take care of me. And so I think he was the first example for me to be like, this is he kind of set kind of the person that I think I need as a partner, because I think we balance each other very well.
Yeah.
He was very kind of chill and calm,
Yes.
while I was anxious and not.
Yeah, he was very, just from my perspective, very like grounded.
Yeah.
Which would be a nice counter for
Right, for somebody who was
an anxious
not
boy here.
Okay. Right, and so I think I actually didn't really think about like I think he was the first person that made me even think of a possibility of dating in general, like and because I had struggles with that, right, for most of my life.
Yeah. So do you feel like ever since him, you feel better with that idea of eventually finding someone?
I think
and dating
so.
people?
I think it's hard because I think I'm somebody who I'm a little bit better at being open now, but it takes me a while to open up to people. And I think like I can share all about my trauma in my life, but to be really open with somebody and they have the honest frustrations, honest talking about the struggles of my life, talking about like the things I've done wrong, and like being open about my past, like my true stuff like that takes a lot out of me. And so I think for me it's like what was it, even the song the Bad Call, we talked about like how it was 3 years since this person, that was talking about him. Like I just didn't think that I could feel the same way and get to that point of like being able to have such a big connection to somebody that I could but before I guess I was just so unsure about everything, right? So I think now would be a little bit easier because I've done a lot of the work. But yeah, it was very I guess it really set
Did it set the standard
in some ways,
that
there are people that I can connect with, be comfortable, feel safe with, and that's the biggest thing, is how I feel safe with somebody is how I feel that connection and my feelings for people. Yeah.
Would you, like, thinking back, would you change anything about the way that whole situation went?
The whole situation
like, aside from maybe like if you could, like, actually getting space. Sip a bubbly first.
Sipping my bubbly. I don't know, actually. I think the things just happen as it should have.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe we were, both of us could have been a little more weary or a little more cautious of how like much we hung out one-on-one, or like how intimate our conversations were, or whatever the case is. I think there could have been a little more.
Did he ever express concern about how close you were despite the circumstance? Or was he just like taking it as it was coming? Like he was never like, maybe we should like back off because I feel like.
No.
Okay, interesting.
I think he's definitely somebody who knows what he believes, and he's firm with his feelings, firm that he said in the end he knows where he feels and whatever I do is on me in some ways, I think.
That's good.
And so he never rejected me. I think there are times where he was definitely frustrated with me because I had a lot of I'm so sorry, it's my fault, oh my gosh, victimizing.
He was probably like, Josh, shut up.
Literally I hate younger Josh. I think that was the only thing, but I think he just wanted to make sure I was okay. And that's why I like I said, I do really care for this person, and I will always care for this person, even though we're not that close anymore. And the hardest thing of this year was kind of recognizing and realizing that he's not on my side right now. And I think I could tell that we still care for each other, but it gets tricky sometimes. Circumstances and the invitation that I got, I didn't get to go, and it was really hard because I think there's like I think no matter what, how much you like somebody, like you always want them to have love and have find their person and all that stuff, and I am happy for him, but it breaks my heart that I wasn't a part of it. And because for me, like, I don't know, in my point of view, he really meant a lot to me. And to kind of hear or just see that event happen, like wow, okay, did it really not matter? And I don't like,
because you moved to Vancouver.
Yes.
You had that separation. You got over it. You got the invitation. And you didn't really have any conversations then, except for the one big one.
So, I mean,
did he ever try and reach out or anything?
He's
or the weird
that's one of his flaws, is he doesn't like to reach out. But that's also one thing that he did reach out when we were friends, so that's I could tell that he would care, that he would tried. But like I moved away. I kind of didn't talk to anybody here, like even my closer friends like Randy and Caleb and them, right? I kind of just left. And so I can understand why there wasn't much conversation between the two of us. We actually did have a conversation like maybe 2 summers ago. No. Last summer. No. Yeah, last summer. We actually did have, a conversation, and like it seemed like we were on good terms, but I think it's I don't want to talk too much about it. But basically just we're not circumstances
changed.
And I would say it really hurt. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it was probably one of the most painful things to happen in the last little bit, because you think about like we spent so much time together.
It's basically a breakup.
Like it's like a friendship breakup.
You weren't dating, but you still broke a friendship.
Right. And I don't there's a part of me that I don't think he might not even see it. Like I just remember the conversation we had, and like for me I kind of internalized everything like I usually do, right? I just kind of in the end of it all, I kind of just got quieter and quieter and quieter, and just like mourning this person that I knew. Mourning this like person that I really, really loved for so long. Like just seeing like a change, and I was like, what's going on?
That's really confusing.
Right? And like it was very confusing because it like that also was like I said earlier about like the church foundation. It was a foundation of a huge part of my faith journey in my adulthood, right? And so like I don't know if they're gonna listen to this, but like I don't have any hard feelings towards you. It's not, it's just difficult to be around you. Because it really hurt to kind of see just me feel like I was dismissed, you know, and the ways I was sharing just the hardships I was going through. And I wish like you all about happiness and love and stuff, but like you can't, like, you hurt me.
Yeah.
And you hurt me, and like way like deeper than I think I could ever think it would have.
Did it surprise you?
I think
like,
it surprised me a lot. I mean, it first surprised me of, you know, just the reaction he had. But it surprised me because I think, you know, it happened while I was very distracted with work and other stuff. And so when August came around, I got into quite a depressive rut, and then was like spiraling into these memories of like what used to be, or, you know, all those things. I'm like, was it all fake? You know, I started questioning, like, was it real? Was I just oblivious? Like, was I just like, in a way, like, I think, like, was I played? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many thoughts of like, but I knew it was genuine. I knew like those years were so genuine. That's why it made it so difficult to kind of come to the realization that I don't think I would call him my friend. And because I don't think a friend would do that.
No.
And I, you know, I'm leaving Victoria knowing that I want to grow and to explore other avenues, explore this new Jorah Josh. But like, this person will always, I'm like holding on to that positive thing, because I would say no matter what bad situation you are in, there is always a good thing that comes out of it, right? And no matter how hard and how hurt I was from this person's conversation I had with them, whatever the positive that happened in the past, I'm not going to ignore that. It was a positive thing, and it helped me in those moments that I needed it. But it's hard to let go of somebody that you really love.
Definitely.
And I would say this person had made such a huge impact on me that like I have 3 songs about this dude.
That's true.
Right? And there's songs that haven't even released yet, right?
Taylor Swift over here.
Tay, yeah. Right? Like the friendship, the relationship that we had was one of the most, I think, life-changing relationships I've had.
Yeah.
In terms of my faith and me just loving myself and being able to care and love for myself, and to like deal with a bunch of stuff that I dealt with during that time, right? And do I wish like it could have turned out differently? Of course I wish
that. Yeah,
right? But like,
but at least you look back and you remember the fondness of it.
Yeah. It is like one of those things where like if I think about those years, I think it's like, as frustrating as the whole situation was, those very like touching moments for me. But when I think about the conversation I had in May, not so much.
Not very touching.
Right? And that's, for me, I think about it, I'm like, that's not the person I know, and I know that's not him. You know? And maybe it can't be me to, you know, open his heart up or to make him see it differently. Maybe it'll be something else. But maybe that's kind of it's my time to just,
that's also not your responsibility.
Yeah.
Anymore.
To let him deal with it.
Yeah.
Or he'll learn from somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said, if you listen to this, I don't know if you do. Like, I do really care for you and your family, and I always will. Like, no matter like how hard it is for me, and like how much I internalize everything. I do care, and I do wish the best, and I always will. And it was one of the reasons why I wanted to leave Victoria. Unfortunately, it was the last straw.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
But I know
things happen for a reason.
Things happen for a reason.
That would probably a reason.
Okay. And
yeah.
So that's when you hear my new music, it's probably gonna be about him.
It's good music.
Oh, thank you.
Honestly,
thank you.
The biggest hurts make the best music.
Right, that's true. But please don't get yourself into these situations to write music. It's not fun.
But like,
yeah.
Overall, you feel good about it?
Yeah, I think.
Like you've learned. You've obviously from what you've told me.
Yeah.
It seems like you've learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have come to some sort of peace with it.
Mm-hmm.
That the truth will come out.
Mm-hmm.
The truth, no matter how much you try to hide it, no matter how much you kind of shove it away, truth and love will always prevail.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this person cares for me. I know that I could, no matter how much that conversation was hard, I could also see what he was saying. It was in a way like trying to protect me and trying to keep me safe in a world that I know will be very hard to navigate through.
Yeah.
And have I seen this person since? Yes. Have I not talked to them? Yes.
Will you see this person again? Probably.
Probably will.
Yeah.
Will I purposefully get out of my way to engage with this person? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But if they ever talk to me, I will talk. I will be a normal human being and just have a conversation, and maybe that's it, right? And I know some of my friends know about this situation, and like I really, it was very hard. I cried for a full day about this situation, but I just hope that like people can learn from this situation that you don't always have to be hateful or to be angry as much as Catherine is angry about it. And there are frustrations with me as well. But you still wish the best, right? Everyone goes through stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through their own shit.
Friendships don't last. People don't like you back. Like, it sucks, but we move on and we learn, just like this boy.
Is that all the things I said on the notes? I think so. What am I excited to look forward to next year?
Oh boy. Okay, in the next year, what do you want to accomplish?
I want to fulfill a dream. Which I have not figured out.
Okay.
Because I have never really dreamed. Because I think my younger part, as sad as this sounds, never thought I would get to this point.
Oh, shit.
Oops. Captain's like, crap.
Oh, shit. There's nothing.
I want to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to figure out the things that I've always been like yearning to do. Dance, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do it.
Acting.
I'm going to, oh my God, yes.
Take an acting class.
I'm going to do an acting class. I'm going to do dance class. I'm going to
wear a mesh shirt to a
Okay,
rave.
no, that's your dream. Okay, anyway, sorry, back to me. I want to just discover Josh and allow myself to discover Josh without fear. And I hope that in the next year I will get a way better understanding of my interests, my passions, and connect them in some way, and hopefully, of course, build confidence and and all those things. And that's one thing I kind of had been reflecting on the last year, was like I had so much self-hatred and so much like imposter syndrome in my life. Like that contract that I had, although I didn't really want to do it at first, really helped me find more confidence in myself and more confidence in my abilities as a teacher, as a musician, as, you know, a friend, as, you know. So I'm hoping that the next things I do will continue to build me up and build me, find my strengths. And it's a weird thing because I feel like as a 28-year-old, I'm like learning these new things about myself that sometimes people find out in like high school, university, you know. And I need to stop just like wishing that I could do this again, like restart and do this at high school.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
you know,
comparison
exactly
is a thief of joy,
right?
That's
but you know what? I know I'm not alone. I know there are many people around our age who are still figuring out what they want to do, and I hope that I can inspire. I hope I can get inspired, and I hope that I can just be happier and be more, you know, I say more God-centered, and just be able to accept myself as much as I humanly can. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
As I reflected on the last year, it is crazy to think that it's been a year since I came out. Will I do more episodes? I'm hoping. Will it be consistent? Probably not.
We don't make any promises.
I want this to be as genuine, as natural as possible, and there are many people I do want to talk to, but those will come when they come. So
it's gonna be a good year.
Just know that I love you, Catherine.
Love you very much.
That was weird. I just touched her arm, and now wait, I'm touching your knee now. I love you very much. I love you too, whoever's listening. God loves you, and I'll see you next time.
Bye. Didn't cry.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Open Closet. Like I mentioned earlier, I truly, truly appreciate your love, your support, and I hope to share more of my experiences and conversations with special people in my life. And just know that God loves you, that He made you in His image. I love you, and I hope you have a great week. See you next time.